Hello, and welcome to this mini course, The Year of the Snake. I'm Amanda with Divine Femme, and I love snake or serpent energy. I've been personally using the snake and the serpent energy in my artwork and in my own contemplations for several years. And I am excited to share with you some of the themes that we can bring into our creative practice, into our lives for this potent year of transformation. So let's take a look at some slides. So the three themes that I find to be the most potent for this year and in general for snake energy are grounded, radiant transformation. So I'll just briefly let you know about the themes that we'll go through in the slides. So grounded has earth element, the physical body, belly to the earth, primordial wisdom. Radiant, shed the old to reveal the shimmering truth of who you are, and sun worship. And transformation, rebirth energy, spring season, Ostara, right? Kundalini awakening, and Shakti. Believe that you are the creator or the creatrix of your beautiful life. Transform yourself to become that which you are. So we'll start out with the earth element, right? So in my shamanic studies, the serpent sits at the south and is said to be the earth or the physical body. And so you always are going to find the snake on the earth, belly to the earth. They are so earthy and amazing. And it's really a beautiful contemplation to bring yourself so earthside that you really begin to notice how incredible this planet is. And all of the different systems like the mycelium networks and the trees and the birds and the plants and the worms and just like literally everything working together as one. And there's so much inspiration for us who may or may not be removed from that earth, from the earth, right? Or from our bodies. And so we can really tune into the wisdom of the snake to bring us back to the earth and connect us to the elements that are here. And just finding different inspirations with the snake to invite you to think about the snake in different ways with these slides. Yeah, and the earth is really quite psychedelic. It's so magical. It's so wise. There's so much wisdom here, right? And so when we can kind of see how alive and magical the earth is, and we are a part of it, we can really begin to come out of our minds and into our bodies. So the physical body needs to come into that safety, right? It needs to feel itself on the earth. It needs to experience the elements and our senses, right? And so when we can really bow down, when we can really put our physical bodies on the earth, my favorite is a yoga posture called the low cobra, right? Just a little extension for the chest, but really it's almost the whole belly on the earth. And so if we can come into embodiment practices that can really ground in the remembrance and the reverence of being a physical body on earth, that is a beautiful contemplation in the year of the snake. Yeah, and like relating the snake to the body. I am all about sensual and sexual expression, which we'll get to later, but the serpent has this quality, this mystery, this like forbidden fruit, right? And so really tuning into the physical body and maybe your reaction or relationship with a snake, right? Like when you see pictures of snakes, when you think about a snake, like when you think about holding a snake or having one crawl in your body, like how does that make you feel? And that will give you information about your relationship to your physical body, the earth element, right? Transformation, your sensuality, your sexuality. And it's good information to deliver you to a liberated state, which is always my mission. Primordial wisdom. So this planet, these bodies floating around, whirling through space in the expanded universe, we have so much wisdom, ancient wisdom within us. It's before all of our programming, right? Before all of the dogma, before all of the rules, before all of the names were placed, before it all, there is this inner knowing that we are the expanded universe. And it really is deep, 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 deep down within us. It's in our DNA. It can be activated and awakened so that we can just remember that we are incredible beings here on earth. And when we can really embody it, come into our bodies and work with our energy to unlock the DNA, then we can really tune in to these ways of being that have nothing to do with the patriarchy, so that we can truly weave a fresh path that is full of reciprocity and sustainability, right? And so that's something to consider when contemplating this medicine. So I talked a little bit about Kundalini energy. So the Kundalini energy is the serpent spiraled at the base of the spine. And right, once it's awakened, it really does support that activation and remembrance in the DNA. And then, of course, you have this primordial wisdom about what it was like before the concept of original sin was implanted in our psyches. Like, that's not true. It was made up. And before the concept of original sin, before Eve ate the apple, right, and was tempted by Lilith, this is all in quotes because it's all bullshit. Like, there was this sexual freedom. There was this liberated state. And then all these weird rules and regulations were implanted in us, and we were meant to feel shame about who we truly are. And we can liberate ourselves from that and come back to the primordial wisdom of who we are. So yeah, let's come into radiance. Shed the old to reveal the shimmering truth of who you are. So what kind of old skin do you have stuck on you? What kind of old stories, old programming, old limited beliefs, right? I mean, do you believe in original sin? Do you believe that you're a sinful creature? Like, that right there is a huge chunk of dead skin that needs to be sloughed off, right? Energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally. There are so many layers to how we have been programmed to come away from our true essence, our true, pure, loving essence. And so it's really, really such a potent time this year, especially since there's so many planets moving around that are also in service to liberation. We must go deep to find the ways and the places that we are holding onto old skin. And we must find nourishing, loving, liberating ways to shed ourselves from it so that we can be radiant, right? Because whatever you're not changing, you're choosing. And that is the truth. And so what can you change and what can you choose to be the most radiant version that you are? Be the most radiant version that you are. When we unlock this dormant DNA, when we clear the channel, when we activate the Kundalini, when we come into our full radiance, everything is possible. Everything is possible. And it's a glorious, boundless, benevolent experience, right? It's like when a snake sheds its skin, it literally before it sheds its skin, it literally can't see because it has like this thick skin over its eyes, right? So think about where you have a clouded view of, of your truth, and feel and sense and embody ways to come into a polished view so that you can move through the world as you are in the present moment. I know it's a lot, but we got this. We got this. We are radiant beings. And you know what is radiance to you? Like this image of the Irwins, right? Steve Irwin, crocodile guy, him and his wife with a giant snake. And they're both just like, yeah, this is awesome. Like, I'm alive. I'm experiencing the earth. Look at this majestic creature. We're in love. Like we're outside. Like, think about what makes you feel the most alive and radiant, the most truthful, the most loving, and go be that, right? Be brave enough to become what you desire. And then sun worship. Snakes need warmth to move, right? I just saw a snake literally today, this morning, just stuck on the cold concrete. The sun's just kind of coming out and it couldn't do anything. It couldn't run away slither away from me. It couldn't function because it needed the warmth of the sun to move. And so I picked it up and I put it in a sunny spot on a fallen tree so that when the sun began to get a little bit brighter and warmer, it would have that nutrients to be able to move through the world. And we need that too. We need the elements. We need the warmth. We need to remember the inner fire. We need these incredible light codes to help us and support us to become this incredible radiant version that we are, right? So when we can truly feel into what is it like to be a snake? Okay, well, belly to the earth and warm, and getting the warmth, finding the hot rock and getting into this bright sun and soaking it up until we feel so warm and radiant that we can move and into our full true version, right? It feels so good. And it connects us back to who we truly are. I'm thankful that you're here, but like the less screen time, the better. The more outside beautiful time, the better. All right. So transformation, our final theme. So rebirth, spring season, Ostara season. I did a whole mini course on Ostara. It's free. You can go find it. But really thinking about the idea of really allowing things to die so that there is space and energy for the new to arrive, right? You let go of the past so that the universe has space to bless you with whatever you are meant to experience, right? If you hold on and you don't let the old stuff die, then you're just going to keep seeing the same stuff. It's like copy, paste, right? Instead, just delete, just empty the trash and be reborn into who you truly are. Right? This is an infinity loop. This is the natural rhythm of life to, have things die and be reborn and then blossom into this new version and experience it fully and then drop your leaves and then let the old die and again and again and again, right? It's just phenomenal. What wants to sprout and blossom from you, right? When you let it. Be reborn and find what is alive for you and who is alive for you and who you can be radiant around and where you can dance and play and explore and create and have awe and wonder in your life. All right. So a big part of the serpent energy, the snake energy is, for me, Kundalini awakening and sexual liberation. We are sexual beings. We have so much power in our sensual and sexual expression, right? And when we think about that Kundalini energy, the Shakti energy, coiled at the base of the spine, and then coming up our beings and activating it all, then what comes with that physical body, what comes with that is liberation in our sensual and sexual expression. Pleasure, delight, ecstasy. These are our birthright. These are not things to hide or be ashamed of, right? All of that shit has to shed. And we can find these incredibly delightful, sensual spaces to savor and continue to activate our liberated state. What does your liberated state look like? What does your sexual expression and liberation look like? What does it feel like to you when your Kundalini Shakti energy rises up and awakens the dormant spaces in your DNA, right? What is possible when we remove the shame and the guilt and the fear to reveal our true nature? And it's a practice. It's all a practice. We've got to show up and practice. Here's me with some body paint on in a sliver of sun with some music on, spiraling my spine to invite more shame to shed, to invite more delight and ecstasy to be awakened and ignited. Life force energy, Shakti. Do you believe that you are the creator or the creatrix of your life? Because you are. Shakti. This is the primordial life force. This is what births and destroys it all. This is the divine feminine, right? The incredible creatrix energy. And she's inviting you to become what you truly desire to be so brave, to be so bold, to be so radiant that you truly can become your true essence. And what I really consider the true essence is that we are the pure love stream of the organic universe. We are. And anything that is not that gets to be shed. And so can we dive in to the mystery of the wise, grounded, radiant, transformational energy of the year of the snake? So here we have some inspiration and examples of my artwork. So I've been in deep conversation with the snake or serpent energy in my art since the beginning of 2019, when I started my deepening into my yoga practice and I drank ayahuasca for the first time. I've been studying the shamanic serpent energy since 2014 from a teacher called Alberto Vololdo. And I had a big Lilith phase in 2010. So here are some of the examples of my work. And I'll just go through them. There's a lot, but I like to think about like a cup or a vessel overflowing with the elixir of the divine. And the spring season, this image is from a piece that I did in my Ostara course. Just the beautiful rebirth energy of spring. And then that fire, right? We need the warmth. We need the fire, the Shakti fire activated within us, right? So that our incredible energy can move and awaken. And so merging symbols of fire with the serpent energy, with some earth elements here. And then notice the color palettes, notice what color palettes you're attracted to, and you can utilize that for your own work. maybe none of this stuff lands, and that's totally fine too. But you can just see all the different ways that I utilize the snake and colors, and this a lot. I do a lot of circular shaped canvases or panels. So, this is a really bright piece with the element of fire in it. Here is my self-portrait on a snake body, and you can see I'm shedding my skin as I move into this new version of me. I'm letting the fire warm and activate me, and I'm letting the wing of the hawk or the eagle to invite me to see, just a bigger picture perspective of this whole beautiful thing called life. Here I merge shamanic energy of the jaguar or big cat with the serpent, and then the physical body in this mixed media piece. And you can see a lot of these snakes have eyeballs on them. And for me, it's about like shedding the skin, becoming radiant, so that there's no blind spots, so that you have a clear view of who you are in the present moment. And you've got eyes everywhere so that you can see the gifts from the universe that are, coming for you, and you can say yes to them. And then you can I do a lot of figurative work where just the top of the breast kind of turn into a point, and it's reminiscent of a snake. And then I also do other little things with just parts of snakes. So here is one of my favorite playful, more folky style snake pieces with, beautiful colors and lively movement and repetition and symmetry. And here maybe you can see the green snake that's kind of coming under the magnolia and through the fire on the lower side. So you can merge the snake energy with other types of imagery if you like. And I am, pretty strange. I've got all kinds of weird things that I do with my art because it's a conversation and I want to explore it, and I don't want to stay safe. I want to play. And so this piece is kind of reminiscent of like a Mother Mary, maybe a vulva, and then you've got the serpent energy swirling around it, and all the elixir coming off of the breast with eyeball nipples. It's wild. And then I definitely went on like a little side quest where the serpents began to have milky breasts. And it was all about how Shakti, or the divine feminine, or the creatrix energy, is literally swirling through us and nurturing us with her elixir. And so I liked merging the imagery here. Here's another version of that. And another version of that. All of this was, very influenced by ayahuasca, plant medicine ceremonies, my devotion to yoga, and my shamanic studies with Alberto Villoldo. So here you see as well this image of a woman that also has different elements. And then there's one that's up in the left, and then one that's sweeping from the right. And then you can see there's actually snake tongues kind of underneath that green snake. And so this was right after my first ayahuasca experience. And I had so many visions, and I had so much just life force coursing through me. And I really had this beautiful rebirth energy swirling within me. This was during the birth of spring that year. It was 2019. And I just let myself go wild with imagery and color, and just like, what did I want to make? Nature is magic. And all felt like it was buzzing. And so, if you feel the call to do a bunch of pieces and just play with the year of the snake themes and imagery, like for a long time, it's a really beautiful meditation and contemplation. Here's a piece where there's a snake with a little beard. This is when my snakes started turning into dragons, with some other imagery. And here is a piece that I made called Conversations with the Divine. So the serpent symbol as, the divine, and, speaking it or receiving from it in exchange while being in this beautiful garden, grounded on earth. Here we have another beautiful piece that I made. And I guess that was an image I wanted to put somewhere else, but it's there. And here we have the Ouroboros, which is really talking about that constant rhythmic cycle of life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, life, death, rebirth, and just allowing it all to belong. Here's a more playful piece that I made. These real smiley, like open mouth snakes were my jam for a while, and just playing with materials, playing with ways of painting so that really nothing ever is the same, because I want to have an adventure. And I encourage you to have an adventure with your art so that it doesn't get tired and that you're learning and exploring something new with your creative force. So here you can see the snake is like the end of the flower. So you can implement snake elements in the work that aren't like overtly snake, right? I also have made memes with found images that I thought I'd pop in just for fun. And I've done these divine doodles, and here's a big old snake wrapped around this one. And I've made logos. This is a logo for Reflective Witch. It's my favorite logo I've ever made. And once again, these eyeball snakes. And here's two cobras that are intertwining it's a digital image that I made. And here there's no overt snakes, but you can see going above the DF here, there is just this little bit of, what could be implied as a snake. So you can have implied snake shapes or just a forked tongue to create the energy of serpent in your work. It doesn't have to be an actual snake. Here we have, like I noted before, this female figure, but the top of the figure is a snake head. And so it talks about Kundalini awakening. It talks about Shakti energy. It talks about being embodied and sensual and sexual, and really like bringing yourself to your earth body and like having this incredible sexual liberation. And this is a piece that I made that I just feel like these symbols here really are the essence of like my work and what the serpent means to me, kind of. And it's like got a whole halo or crown of forked tongues. It's just got the whole thing. Here's a little patch I made with a cobra. The cobra goddess is called Wajit, and she's very powerful. And that's what I was studying with when I made this. Here we go again with that figure that's sort of a snake in the garden. Here's a wild snake coming out of a rainbow portal. Here's a beautiful snake in a portal and the tongue turns into a rainbow that extends out of the portal. So like you can see how you can really approach your own creative expression and exploration of snake themes and medicine in your work in so many different ways, so many different styles, so many different colors, so many different materials. The sky is the limit. And here's a recent piece that I made, and it's kind of like passing the torch. We've got like a feathered serpent on one side that's like a dragon, and then you've got the earth serpent on the left side, and they're kind of meeting because we just came out of the year of the dragon, and now we're moving into the year of the snake. And so it's kind of like they're passing the baton. And this one's called Multidimensional Shakti. So I recommend making a mood board. Some of the slides might have sparked some inspiration for you, and really anything goes. So your aesthetic might be completely different than mine or anything that I showed you, right? And so maybe you can find colors, imagery, and ideas to give you a creative flow. And you can use Pinterest or Canva. You can cut out magazines. You can just look around your space and just notice what colors you're attracted to, what imagery you're attracted to, what styles you're attracted to, and kind of bring them together so that you can have sort of a mood board of inspiration to guide you. And then you're not just like, I could do anything. I don't know. It's overwhelming. Like, just create a little mood board for some of your creative process, and then it's going to be easier. So some other stuff that maybe might be more in alignment for you. Lisa Congdon is a very like folky, playful, illustrative artist. That might be more your style. You might want to go really realistic and black and gray. You might get really like psychedelic with it. You might get more playful. You might want to have a different image that is playing with the snake. You might keep it really simple and then have just one area that's full of detail, like Hillary Jane's cobra here. And you might find images that don't actually have a snake in them, but they're inspiring to you. So the image on the left with the braids, I see those braids as snakes or could be snakes. And so we can be inspired by that. The op art on the other side with the cactus, all those could be swirling snakes. So you can look at things and be like, oh, I could insert a snake here, right? I love tattoos. And I think that, these tattoos in particular are really inspiring as just ways to look at the snake energy, yin and yang. And then there might be imagery, once more, that don't have snakes at all, but you just really like the style and you want to emulate the style, or you really like the color palette and you want to emulate the color palette. Or once again, with the braids and this lady, you could replace all of that with snakes and what would happen. And Corey Foreman on the left here, just like imagining those as snakes. And then I think this is probably an AI image that I screenshot at some point, but all of this cool adornment on this figure could all be snakes. So my personal inspiration right now, because I'm getting really folky, is Russian window treatments. Like, they're just so wild and amazing and colorful. And I can only imagine how much life that brings to, a cold country. And then this beautiful view of all of this rich, lush springtime activation in front of it with the flowers and the vines. So I'm going really bright and folky and playful with my own personal style, because that's what I want to evoke. That's what I want to radiate more of. That I want to find more joy and play and gardening time in my personal life. And so that's where I'll be drawing my inspiration from. So let's get creating. So the best way to set yourself up is to clear a space, get your materials together. You can literally use any materials you want, put on some music or just listen to the natural sounds. You can even do this with friends or children or partners. Turn off your phone and make some art. No one ever has to see it. There's no such thing as good and bad. It's all made up. What's important is that you invite yourself to flow and play and express your radiant spirit while contemplating the themes that feel alive for you regarding the year of the snake. So get to creating and enjoy and stay in touch. The best way to stay in touch with me is to visit divinefemme.com. And you can also go to the Stay in Touch tab in the menu and insert your address so that you can have emails coming to you with all of my upcoming offerings, and we can stay connected. Thank you so much for being here. Enjoy.